the why of why we started Home Life Academy really has to do with, the story of my family, which really started in the 80s. So my brother, 6 years younger than me, was diagnosed with an auditory processing disability, or whatever they wanted to call it, in 4th grade. And so they tried different schools. All of them, charged bukus of money and couldn't fix the problem. Meanwhile, he was just getting more and more depressed about, his failure as a person. I mean, when you're, 8, 9 years old, 10 years old, that's your whole world, is these schools that he's being shifted from to try to fix him. So he's been told he's broken, and now all this is happening trying to fix him. Meanwhile, I'm in high school at a private school, and along that time, my parents met a homeschool family that suggested that he was not actually disabled, that this was the way God made his brain, and that they should decide to homeschool him, try homeschooling. And they read a bunch of books, and in 1988, just a little after homeschooling became legal in Tennessee, they pulled Tyler out of public school and began to homeschool him. I was terrified. I'm a senior in high school, and I'm going, "What are you doing to my brother? You're going to homeschool him? What? Aren't you worried about socialization?" I didn't have a clue what that really meant, because I'm 18 years old. But I just knew that was the thing that people were saying against homeschooling at the time. So I leveled that at my own parents, And I remember my mom said, "Well, actually, yes. I'm worried that if we leave Tyler in the school, he will be socialized." And I went, "Wow. Okay. Yeah." And she went on to work with homeschoolers for a decade, even up to her passing in 1997 to go be with the Lord. And she told hundreds of homeschoolers that same thing. They pulled Tyler out, and at that time, Tyler had sank really deep into depression, and it was a real burden. We found out later he was having suicidal thoughts during that time of his life. But when they pulled him out, my mom said, he stood up. He went from this to this, and it was like this huge burden of the world had been lifted off his shoulders. And it wasn't but just a couple of months later that he was a different kid completely. And I watched that transformation in it, and it just transformed our whole family dynamic that was revolving around trying to take care of this huge problem. Just suddenly the problem was gone. Tyler went on to learn college-level computer programming while he was still in high school, to the point that when he graduated from high school and went to a local college, he already knew the majority of what was being taught, so he transferred down to Full Sail in Orlando, which is a more high-end graphic arts school. But I got to watch that. I got to watch the homeschooling success in a real way, and I think that's the why. That's the why did I start Home Life Academy, because I was going to go down the road of youth ministry and family ministry and those things, but this just kept calling to me all through college, and afterwards I just couldn't shake it.